Hey guys, Chris from Adaptation here, and this is video number 5 of my PoA MCQ prep for the July 2020 CSEC exams. If you have missed any of the other videos, I'm going to put a card up there and a link in the description below that will carry you to a playlist with all of those other videos. So you can take a look at those after you've checked this one out, or you can go there and come back here, anything you want to do. Anyhow guys, I don't want to give a long intro, we know the drill, let's get into it. Alright guys, so let's take a look at number 41 and let's read our questions as we go along. So number 41 says, what is the correct order of the following items if they are to be listed in order of liquidity? So good question here. What is liquidity? Now there are a couple of different meanings attached to it, but in this context, liquidity refers to the ease of conversion of an asset into cash. So it's how easy it is to turn an asset into cash. So by default, therefore, cash, the asset of cash in hand, is already in liquid form. It is the most liquid current asset. Cash at bank is the second most liquid current asset because it is basically cash, and thanks to the advent of the internet, you can use mobile banking to pay things, to transfer funds. And I mean, in some cases, I would say cash at the bank is even more liquid than cash in hand. But I know some of you might want to fight me on that, but we could do so down in the comments. All right, so therefore, if what we're looking for is the correct listing in order of liquidity, the list needs to start with cash and then go to cash at bank. So here we have stock first, no, then debtors, then bank, then cash. Well, that's the order you would see it in the balance sheet: stock, debtors, bank, and cash. So that's not the order. That's in order of permanence. Then debtors, no, look, here we go, cash, then bank. There you go. That's our answer right there: cash, bank, debtors, and stock. Now let me explain why it's debtors and then stock. So first of all, stock is the least liquid current asset because we're never bound to sell stock, right? Right now we're in the COVID-19 times, and I know things are kind of now getting back to somewhat normal. Places are reopening, but think about before this, a lot of stores were closed, and all of their stock, whether it's clothes or shoes, apparel, electronics, whatever the case is, they were just in the store doing nothing. Maybe some of these places had online shopping and were able to provide customers with delivery or whatever the case is. But a lot of stores probably didn't have that facility available. So their stock was just there doing nothing. They could do absolutely nothing with it. And therefore, that is why stock is the least liquid current asset. We are never bound to sell stock. All right. Debtors is the second least because we're also not ever bound to collect debtors. Debtors could decide not to pay us. But the thing is, I mean, unless there's a whole economic depression, or you just really pick the wrong people to sell to on credit, chances are you're going to get back at least some of your money. So debtors is a bit more liquid than stock, all right? Especially if the people to whom you have sold on credit have signed contracts promising to pay. Then at least you have at least some degree of legal recourse. You can carry them to court and probably force them to pay. They may have to sell some assets or whatever the case is, but it can happen. But you're never bound. You're never bound to I don't think you can ever really force someone to buy stock from you. So stock is the least liquid current asset, and that's why C is our answer here. So let's get a yellow going. All right. So scrolling down, we're going to take a look at number 42. What is the correct order of the following items if they are to be listed in order of permanence? So permanence is the opposite of liquidity. To be permanent means to be long-lasting. So when you want to list something in order of permanence with these assets, you're going to list the longest lasting ones first. And what did we just did in the previous question? Stock is the most permanent current asset. Now, just by the way, if you take a glance at all of the options, they're only talking about current assets. Some of the questions right after this will have non-current as well. So we, of course, will get an exposure to that. So once again, this order of permanence dealing with current assets, it's just that the order you're supposed to see in your balance sheet when you do it in order of permanence. Stock, debtors, bank, and cash. So stock, debtors, bank, and cash. All right. So moving on from there now, number 43. Whoops. What is the correct order of the following items if they are to be listed in order of liquidity? Didn't we just do this question? Oh, but look at the options. Look at the items. We have cash, debtors, right? Bank, furniture, and land. So these are different assets. So we have a mix of current and non-current. So we know the correct order of liquidity for current assets starts with cash, then goes to cash, bank. We didn't talk about prepayments and accruals that are current assets, but we'll come to that the next time. But then debtors and then stock. So cash, then debtors, and then bank cannot work. But if in terms of the non-current assets, the fixed assets, furniture than land, right? So furniture is probably easier to sell off than land, according to, well, I guess the state of the market. But land will probably be last and furniture will be before land. So the only thing that has to change here is debtors must come before bank if it's to be in order of liquidity. Land, no. Cash, bank, debtors, furniture, land, right? So that's our option there. Boom. Okay. Let's take a look at number 44. So we have another one asking about permanence. What is the correct order of the following items if they are to be listed on a permanence? Okay, so these are the same options from above with cash, bank, debtors, furniture, and land. So remember, permanence means long lasting. So the longest lasting asset usually in most cases is land or freehold premises or land and buildings, whatever you want to call it. So we're looking for options starting with land. So we have land here and land here. Right, so in D we see in land, then debtors, and furniture. Most times you can sell the furniture before, well, it takes longer to sell the furniture than it does to collect debtors. Or put the other way, you can probably collect your debtors quicker than you can sell the furniture. So land and furniture, debtors, bank, cash. Right, so option B is the best option here. All right, let's scroll back up and go across to number 45. So we're still dealing with questions of liquidity. What is the correct, oops, and I keep pulling that tab. What is the correct order of the following assets if they are to be listed in order of liquidity? All right, so here we have the Roman numeral thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have to pick your options. So in order of liquidity, you have to start with cash in hand, then go to cash at bank, then go to account receivable, and then inventory. Right, so it has to start with 3. And the only option starting with 3 is C. I should have made these more challenging, but I feel like we're going through them too quickly. All right, so let's just double check it. 3, cash in hand. 1 is cash at bank. 4 is account receivable. And then 2 is inventory. All right, yeah, makes sense to me. Scrolling down, let's take a look at number 46. What is the correct order of the following assets if they are to be listed in order of permanence? So once again, permanence is the opposite of liquidity. The longest lasting assets first, and then you go down. So we know if it's cash at bank, inventory, cash in hand, account receivable. So these are all current assets. So if you think about it, once again, balance sheet, stock, debtors, bank, and then cash. So stock is inventory. So any option as long as starting with 2A, right? So B and D, okay. So stock, then debtors. So 2, then 4, and then 1, and then 3. Right, so 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 3. Okay. All right, let's scroll down and tackle some more questions. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so number 47. So it says, which of the following list of items below has only current liabilities? All right, so current liabilities are liabilities that are due and payable within less than a year. So some examples are creditors, accrued expenses, bank overdraft, prepaid revenue, that sort of stuff. Okay, let's see which of those we see in our options here. So creditors, yes. Cash, no. Accrued expenses, yes. Bank, no. So option A is out. Option B, prepaid revenue, yeah. Cash, no. Current portion of long-term debt, what is that? Inventory, no. Okay. Now, the current portion of the long-term debt or long-term loan is a current liability. Let me explain why. Let's say you take a long-term loan for 10 years, but you work with the bank that you're going to pay back in monthly installments. It means in any given year, you have 12 payments to make on that loan. So it means that you have amounts falling due within a year from any given point in time. So it means that out of that, how much ever money you borrow for 10 years, a portion is due every year. So even though the tenor of the loan, the length of the loan, the life of the loan is 10 years, which is definitely non-current, a piece is due every year. And that piece is the current portion or current piece of the larger long-term loan. All right? Now, well, option B is out because, well, it has cash and inventory. Accounts payable, yeah. Accrued revenue, no. Accrued revenue is revenue owed to you, which is an asset. Mortgage, now mortgage is a liability, but it's a long-term liability. And accrued expenses, yes, that's a current, but obviously we have 2 items there that are not current liabilities. D, accounts payable, yes. Prepaid revenue, yes. Accrued expenses, yeah. And current portion of long-term debt or loan? Yes. So option D is the correct option here. Okay, let's check on number 48. Which of the following items may be classified as current liabilities? Okay, so we seem to be in a bit of a current liabilities theme here. So accrued revenue, no, that's revenue you have earned but not yet collected. So therefore that is an asset to you. Accrued expenses, yes, those are expenses incurred which you were supposed to pay but you have not yet paid. Therefore, you're owing it. Therefore, it's a liability. Prepaid expenses. No, if you pay expenses in advance, it means you now have an opportunity to receive benefits in the future or a refund. So therefore, that's an asset. And prepaid revenue. Right, so that's when people pay you in advance and you now have an obligation to transfer in the future some sort of benefit, goods, services, or a refund. So 2 and 4. 2 and 4. I didn't put that option here. Okay, I think it was supposed to be this option. Right, now that was interesting because that has happened. I have seen that happen in CSEC exams. All right, where there was no correct option. So if that's the case, I have heard different things. One person told me, leave it out because they will basically give everybody the mark. And then somebody else told me, leave it out because they will simply eliminate that question from the running and mark the paper out of 59 if they left out one question. Because obviously some people will get it right, some will get it wrong. They just don't know how many. So they kind of scrap it and they cut it out so nobody gets a chance to get it right or wrong. Okay, so 49. Which of the following items may be classified as current liabilities? Okay, so we hear again. Current portion of long-term debt. So we talked about that before. So yes, that is definitely current. Mortgage. No, a mortgage is long-term or non-current. Accounts payable is definitely current. Debentures. So debentures is a type of loan issued by a limited company. And that is definitely non-current. Now you can have short-term debentures, but unless they otherwise state it, debentures are assumed to be non-current. So in this case, it's 1 and 3. Do I have that? Yes, I do. All right, so let's get a couple more going, and we call it a day. All right, A. Young and Son has a net working capital of 25,000. If current assets total 35,000, what is the value of her current liabilities? Okay, so first of all, net working capital is current assets minus current liabilities. So current assets minus whatever current liabilities is equals 25,000. So 35,000 minus something gives us 25,000. So how are you going to find out something? Well, you could take current assets and minus net working capital, which will give us 10,000. Now, just by the way, I have seen most CSEC papers don't include the word net. They just have working capital. So I guess in the context, you can assume that net working capital and working capital mean the same thing and are both calculated the same way. Now check option D. It cannot be determined from the information given. So that's the catch. All who feel smart, but all they didn't study and they want to guess. And they figure, hey, the most complicated thing must be the answer. Try to know your work, right? All right, 51. A. Young and Daughters has current assets of 120,000, current liabilities at 150. Their net working capital position is, okay. So current assets is 120, but current liabilities is 150. So that's a negative 30. So it is quite possible to have a negative net working capital position. What are our options? Well, we don't have any numbers, but I'm seeing negative. So that is the answer. The net working capital position is negative because current assets is less than current liabilities, or current liabilities is more than current assets. Look how they want to catch all the smart ones. Cannot be determined from the information given. Or net working capital is not a correct accounting term. All right. I'm sure let's catch some people there, but I mean, that's just because people don't know. Right? And we're not casting any judgment on anybody who doesn't know. That's why I'm trying to help anybody else who wants to know. All right. So let's take a look at the last question for today. So it says, young and old. Young and old have current liabilities valued at 60,000 and net working capital amounting to 20,000. How would the current assets be calculated given the above information? So what they're asking for is not the value, but how would it be calculated? What do we have? We have current liabilities and we have net working capital. Net working capital is current assets minus current liabilities. So if you have current liabilities and net working capital, you have to add those two together in order to get current assets. So we're looking for 60 plus 20, which is option B. All right, look, they almost give you every option. 60 minus that, 60 divided by that. Current assets cannot be calculated given only this information, which of course is not true. All right, guys. Okay, so that is the end of set 5. So as you have seen, I do sometimes give multiple questions that almost ask the same thing but give you different options. And that's to give you practice. And you will also notice the questions are not entirely the same. There are differences. Okay, that's because, like I said, though we know that questions repeat on the CSEC papers, and sometimes there are blatant repeats that are not adjusted in a lot of cases, there are times when there are slight adjustments. So even though you may do 10, 20 years worth of multiple choice, please remember that there's always a possibility something could change slightly. So be sure to read your question. Anyhow, guys, I don't want to have a long outro, right? So you know me, my message is always the same. You can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do if you have the correct mindset, a growth mindset, the belief you can do anything if you put in the work. All right? There's no substitute for hard work. And of course, as humans, we will all encounter difficulty. We will all have trouble. And it's okay to ask for help. And of course, if what you are doing is not working, then you need to try a different approach to it. You need to adapt because change is the only constant. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay safe, share resources, share the love. See you.